Good morning and welcome to the first ever virtual Uscom Limited 2020 Annual General Meeting. I'm Rob Phillips and I'm the Executive Chairman of Uscom, and as we've got a virtual quorum and the time's now past 11:30, I declare the 2020 Annual General Meeting open. Today's meeting will begin with the Chairman's presentation, results and achievements for 2020, followed by an overview of strategy for 21, consideration of the financial statements and reports, then presentation of the resolutions, followed by a general discussion and question time for shareholders. Today's the first ever digital AGM, so I ask shareholders for their consideration as we attempt to optimise use of this new meeting technology. But please feel free to ask questions at any time. You can use the chat box in your software or raise your digital hand if you have a direct question of the chair, but please wait until after the first presentation. The Chairman's presentation is titled Record Growth with Blue Sky Ahead, and I'll describe where we have been, our results and where we're going, and as we transition from a medical device company into a profitable global medical technology company. Uscom's delivered record growth in a challenging commercial world. Medical technology is a cornerstone of health and investment, and Uscom continues to execute a targeted global strategy of growth and expansion. While the future is uncertain, China, Uscom's major market, is rebounding as Uscom expands into Europe and the US. Uscom has created life-saving devices for all the major global markets, while a new product pipeline to ensure revenue growth foreseeably. Uscom is becoming a global, vertically integrated medical technology leader. Uscom are experts in circulation, and our objective is to improve clinical care and cardiovascular and pulmonary medicine. Underlying this mission is a drive to build a world-leading and strongly profitable global medical technology company. Uscom has 4 streams of products: the Uscom 1A Advanced Hemodynamic Monitor, the Spirosonic Digital Ultrasonic Spirometers, the BP Plus blood pressure devices, and the Vascular Health Monitor and the VentiTest ventilator testing devices. The Uscom board is a small and efficient board working closely to ensure the best quality management and governance. This year, we're delighted to have Mr. Meng Xianhui join the Uscom board as a non-executive director of the company. Mr. Meng is an experienced biotechnology manager and investor with important biotechnology knowledge and experience in China, and his skills bring important depth to the board. I'd like to thank the board personally and on behalf of shareholders for their support, insight and contribution to our company during the year, and we look forward to the opportunities we can create in 2021. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Gareth Few on behalf of BDO, the company's auditor. People are vital for productive growth, and the Uscom continues to attract talented and capable people to drive the operational objectives of the company. We now have 37 employees across 4 continents, and I'd like to personally thank each of those members of the global team on behalf of investors for their contribution and support during 2020. Creating the results that we've created depends on the contribution of all of these people. So thank you. Results for 2020, again summarised in record growth with blue sky ahead. Our results demonstrated continued record cash receipts of 4.6 million, up 36% year on year, and consolidating a long growth trend. Annual cash receipts were up 36% and sales up 29%, with improvements in net cash flow and profitability, with increased cash on hand while remaining debt-free. Despite a poor H1 as we globally restructured distribution, our annual results established new records. Particularly the H2 results, cash receipts were up 83% and sales up 57%. And the company was, as a comprehensive global entity, was both profitable and cash flow positive. This is a new milestone for the company. And this was driven predominantly by the activities of Uscom China, which began its activities in the second half. Importantly, the second half was approximately equal to the full year returns in 2019. Regionally, more than 70% of our sales were derived from China and Southeast Asia, with slightly more than 20% derived from Europe, with less than 10% from the USA. In terms of product, the Uscom 1A is responsible for 87% of all Uscom revenue, with Spirosonic contributing 12% and BP Plus 1%. BP Plus was only available to sell to research laboratories as we awaited and developed the new A&D modules for release later in the year. China remains our dominant market, with Uscom China predicting strong revenue growth over the next 12 months. The proportion of global revenue contributed by BP Plus and Spirosonic is expected to increase as they receive global regulatory approvals. Uscom now has 3 operational centres in Sydney, Beijing and Budapest, and our 3 offices in Auckland, Singapore and Los Angeles, as we prepare for the expansion associated with growth of current products and support and the anticipated demand as we receive our multiple product approvals for the 8 devices over the next 12 months. Throughout the year, Uscom raised a small amount of growth capital to fund new devices in the anticipation of sales in the second half. This raising was fully subscribed by the Uscom chairman, the director of China operations and board member and investor, Mr. Meng, and a lead investor from Australia. Given the unpredictability of the global economies, this raising proved prudent and funded the manufacture of new devices for sale, which ultimately drove our record results. The strength of Uscom China is related to the focus on management, education, clinical support and sound commerce. Teresa Guo leads the China team as General Manager of Uscom China and is now appointed as Uscom Head of Global Operations, supporting the expanded European, Southeast Asian and US markets. COVID-19 was one of the most important social and medical events of our time and remains an important driver of both global economics and medical device companies. Uscom technologies were at the forefront of this progress and were recommended by the Wuhan Adult and Pediatric Critical Care Societies, the National Health and Medical Commission of the People's Republic of China, and the International Society of Critical Care Medicine Pediatric Guidelines. As a result of the China recommendations and the activities of Uscom China, there were more than 50 critical care centres established for treatment of severe COVID using Uscom 1A. Around the world, we're experiencing a similar increased interest in the 1A for the management of infectious diseases. Global approvals for Uscom devices progress, albeit at a slightly slower pace during the pandemic. We're, however, aware our approvals are in various jurisdictions are advancing, and we are keen to receive these and feed them into our new product and to feed our new products into our expanded distribution system and the market. Regulatory is complicated, and I get many questions about the process associated with regulatory. So I thought I'd include this slide just to demonstrate a small component change in the BP Plus was associated with 18 test reports, 14 reports, and 13 submissions. And so this takes time and it takes money. But it's also why the approvals are important and valuable. Uscom continues to generate IP, and in 2020 we created 2 really powerful patent applications in the field of hypertension and ventilator testing and calibration. These patents will provide commercial protection from IP theft for approximately 20 years once granted. Spirosonic Air was released this year, and we're just waiting on some of the approvals to take it to market. But this is a really important technology. With the increasing incidence of asthma, COPD, and now COVID recovery disease, home monitoring of lung function is really emerging as a priority for clinicians worldwide, with the market anticipated to double in the next 12 months. Spirosonic Air represents the apex technology in the spirometry market, and combined with the MyAir software and the Spiro Reporter software, provides a powerful ecosystem for monitoring and managing acute and chronic lung disease. This year also saw the co-development of the A&D module to enhance the BP Plus technology, and the A&D module has progressed through testing, and the device and the new BP Plus software, BP Plus Reporter software, has been released. This technology is the most advanced blood pressure and vascular health monitoring technology available, acquiring non-invasively 26 measures of cardiovascular function from each of 3 pulse pressure waves in the heart and arms. The BP Plus is now being prepared for marketing over the next 12 months. BP Plus is an apex technology, and what we can see here is the power and the resolution of that technology compared to a previous gold standard competitor. The amount of detail, the amount of information, and the number of measures adds significantly to our understanding of cardiovascular function. Additionally, the Uscom Venti test was released to the market, and this too is an important part of the new technology that is, sorry, I've lost my notes on this. It is an important new technology. The numbers of ventilators are expanding dramatically throughout the world, and they all need testing and management. So it's an important technology, and it's being further prepared for market as we speak. Branding and marketing, again, is a very important part of what we do. And as we mature, we actually take active parts in marketing, and it's probably the first time that we've really had the time to actually spend marketing. And these are initiatives from the Uscom China team just to provide a light-hearted engagement with clinicians and patients. New distribution. This year has been a very important year for us in the fact that we set up China, Beijing headquarters for Uscom China. That's an expanded distribution network of more and better distributors, and current growth is mostly from Uscom 1A, while the new products for NMPA approval over the next, with new products for NMPA approval over the next 6 to 12 months. We predict strong 12-month growth as these new products come online. We've also established a Southeast Asian new regional headquarters in Singapore and are working towards setting up a direct distribution management team and looking for new distributors and technical clinical support. In Europe, we spent quite a bit of time appointing a new sales executive, and he's seeking out new and bigger distributors with improved clinical and technical support. We are also looking at creative strategic opportunities to optimise shareholder value in Europe and move things forward. In the US, new distribution structure, we changed to a commission-based structure with our new trained team reaching 75% of the US. The milestones for the year saw record sales and growth for Uscom with our first profitable and cash flow positive half. We restructured our distribution in all major markets and had our role in severe COVID patients endorsed across 4 continents. We released the Air, the BP Plus and BP Plus reporter and the VentiTest devices. We received a 5-year NMPA approval for the Uscom 1A, while our other global approvals proceed. Additionally, we expanded our global operations in preparation for our increased number and volume of products. So the strategy for 2021, it's focused on record growth with blue sky ahead. It was another landmark year for us, new IP, new distribution models, record revenue, and it provides the foundation for the year ahead. We are centred on maintaining our rapid growth of revenue and sales with increased efficiency to increase our new profitability. Our mantra remains simply more products in expanded global markets. But Uscom is rapidly growing an innovative medical technology company with a larger vision, and we have an ambition to improve global health. So it gives me great pleasure to announce today the commitment of the company to the development of our new Uscom Blue Sky eHealth ecosystem. Uscom is a world-leading non-invasive digital cardiovascular and pulmonary device developer. On top of this, we have built digital software for archiving, analysis and reporting the data of these devices. We are now committed to developing a new cloud-based technology, the Uscom Blue Sky eHealth ecosystem, that will bring together the power of our current hardware and software and umbrella that data in the cloud. This platform creates a new model of monetisation for the company and includes pay-per-use, rental and subscription models, among others. And it allows delivery of remote diagnostics and therapy. It also creates a rapidly growing reservoir of high-quality cardiovascular and pulmonary data for analysis, sale and research. Put simply, the Uscom Blue Sky eHealth ecosystem is the proprietary technology that will deliver the power of Uscom to patients and clients worldwide. eHealth depends for its effectiveness on the quality of the sensors, the physiology that they measure, and the integration and delivery system to store and record the data. This new proprietary ecosystem will improve health and disease management and create multiple new revenue streams for Uscom over the next 5 years. Uscom have created the Apex cardiovascular and pulmonary sensors and accompanying software of the future. The Blue Sky eHealth ecosystem will ensure the delivery of these benefits worldwide. The risks in 2021 include the pandemic and what follows, the US trade war ongoing, volatile global markets, scale-up stress, operational changes, distribution changes, regulatory processes, key personnel risks, and other risks unforeseen. As a financial update, and I'm sure investors have seen this already, our Q1 results.
Way of getting that up so you can read it.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, you heard me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can't read the things on the background.
This is the financial result for Q1, and what we have here is increase in sales 430%, cash receipts up 83%, and net cash flow up, profit up. So it's profitable cash flow, sales up 430%, and cash receipts up 75%. A great start for 2021. So in conclusion, Uscom continues to deliver record growth with real blue sky ahead. New products, new distribution, recovering global markets, and the new blue sky eHealth ecosystem will fuel Uscom has created the digital cardiovascular and pulmonary sensors of the future, and we will deliver their benefits worldwide. I'm not sure whether everybody got that message. So thank you for noticing my presentation. I think that summarises where we're at, and it's basically record growth with blue sky ahead. Okay, I would like now to move forward with the general business and consideration of financial reports, statements as the procedural part of the meeting. The first item of business today is the consideration of the financial statements and reports. The reports are to receive and consider the financial report of the company together with the reports of the directors and the auditor for the financial year ahead. There is no vote to be taken on the reports, but shareholders have the opportunity to ask questions. So at this time, I'd like to take any general questions or comments about the management of the company or the questions about the financial reports. Again, there is no vote on this, but it's an opportunity for shareholders to question management and the auditors on any questions of the company management. So Susanna, can you unmute the participants, please? Does anybody have any questions or any interests in the financial report of the company? If there are no further questions, I'll conclude the discussion on the reports and assume that the reports were definitively presented the state of the company. So thank you very much. I'll now like to move on to the next item of business, Resolution 1. And I'd also like to confirm to the meeting that all proxies held by the chair will be voted in favour of the resolutions. There is a new ASX voting rule this year, and we've had to make some adjustments to the meeting, that in accordance with these change, any resolution seeking approval under the ASX listing rules must be decided by a poll. As 5 of the 8 resolutions on the agenda today are seeking approval under ASX listing rules, I've decided to call a poll on all 8 resolutions. Therefore, it is unnecessary to ask for a show of hands on each resolution. I table a copy of the notice of meeting and declare that the notice be taken as read. I will now put all resolutions to the meeting as a poll. And again, it's unnecessary for a call for a show of hands. Instead, the results of the voting on resolutions will be announced to the ASX following the meeting. So, Resolution 1 is the adoption of the remuneration report. And you can see here the received proxies Are there any questions from shareholders? The total number of proxy votes exercisable in respect of this item of business is 62,345,608. So any questions? Anybody have any comments? Please feel free to voice an opinion or ask any questions. If there are no questions, I'll call for a poll in relation to the resolution and request, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? This is an important shift in the way that we conduct our business from year to year. And previously, while there'd been a show of hands to support these resolutions, this year it's basically to see if anybody in the room has sufficient votes to overwhelm the proxies. So if there are no claimants to registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution, I declare the resolution carried. Resolution 2 is the re-election of Mr. Brett Crowley, and again, there are 89,211,155 proxies received, of which 100% are in favour. And I would like to ask from the virtual room, are there any questions? And if there are no further questions, I'll call for a poll in relation to this resolution. Are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? If there are no registered voters in the room wishing to vote against the resolution, I declare the motion carried. Resolution 3 is seeking the approval and re-election of Mr. Xianhui Meng as director of the company. The total number of valid proxies exercisable in respect of this item is 57,842,947, of which 100% are supportive. Are there any questions related to this resolution? If there are no further questions, I call for a poll in relation to the resolution. And are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against this resolution? If there are no voters, then I declare the motion carried. Resolution 4 is the ratification of private placement of shares on the 1st of June on 2020. And again, the total number of valid proxies is 62,345,608. That's 87, sorry, 345,608. If there are any questions related to this, this resolution. If there are no questions related to the poll, I'd like to ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against this resolution? If there are no votes against the resolution, then I hereby declare the resolution carried. Resolution 5 is the ratification of private placement of shares on the 28th of August 2019, and the total number of valid proxies exercisable in respect of this item is 86,923,996. Are there any questions related to this resolution? If not, I'd like to call the poll for this resolution and ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? And if not, I declare the motion carried. Resolution 6 is the grant of share rights to Executive Chairman Rob Phillips. As this is a poll, it's not essential that I leave the chair, and as the registered votes are substantial, the poll is open and it's not based on a show of hands. The total number of valid proxies is 62,345,608. Are there any questions about this allocation? If there are no further questions, I call for a poll in relation to the resolution and ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? If not, I declare the motion carried. Again, Resolution 7 is the grant of share rights to Executive Chairman Rob Phillips. The total number of valid proxies is 87,042,643. Are there any questions? If there are no further questions, any questions in relation to this award? In which case I'll call the poll and ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? And if not, I declare the motion carried. Resolution 8 is the ratification of private placement of shares on the 28th of August 2019. Total number of valid proxy votes exercisable in respect of this item is 86,923,966. Are there any questions related to this additional share capacity expansion ruling? If there are no further questions, call for a poll in relation to the resolution and ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? And if not, I declare the motion carried. Resolution 9 is the appointment of the auditors. The total number of valid proxies exercisable in this respect is 89,211,155, and it's. Are there any questions regarding this resolution? Any discussion from shareholders? If there are no further questions, I call for a poll in relation to this resolution and ask, are there any registered voters in the virtual room wishing to vote against the resolution? If we have no votes against, we declare the motion carried. So here is the summary of proxy voting, and it shows a substantial support for the company management at this time. As there's no further business, I'd like to conclude the formal proceedings of the meeting, and I declare the meeting closed. Again, the message is record growth with blue sky ahead. I'd like to thank you for your attention, your support, and I welcome any comments or questions from shareholders now as we open the floor to all participants in this presentation. And I'd welcome any conversations or contribution. Can we unmute all the participants' head office?
It was just that.
So everybody's unmuted now. If anybody has a question, either of me or the auditors or of the board, we have the full board with us today. Although they may be in Beijing, Sydney and Singapore, we are all in attendance.
Rob, John Gleeson.
G'day, John. How are you?
Good, thank you. Just one question, quick one. Do you think having, with what's going on between China, US, and some bad feeling towards Australia, do you think having the koala bear might be a disadvantage rather than an advantage in China?
Look, I think there's a couple of ways to look at this, John, and the disturbances that are going on in international politics are exactly that. They're international politics. The greatest volume of foreign investment into China at the moment is from the US. So I think the disparity between politics and economics is quite different. I think there's also a great difference on the ground, and that is people have longer relationships and are not so easily engaged in political representation. And it was interesting when the fires were going on in Australia in January, how many people in China sent me WeChats worried and concerned both about Australians and Australian animals. And I think the koala bear became a sort of a symbol for that.
Oh, that's good.
It's a very positive thing. The world goes on regardless of what the politicians do. Trade still continues, and that's a very important message. I've been asked by investors, how do we see the future for Uscom in China? China needs growth, Australia needs growth, US needs growth, Europe needs growth. And the only way we'll do that is by successful international trade and partnerships. And that involves relationships. And whatever happens in politics, I think our relationships will stay strong and be at the root of a continuing globalisation. And
thanks for that, Rob.
Trade is.
Thank you.
Koalas are loved the whole world round. Carolyn Myers here. I'd like to ask, are our products suitable for babies, use for babies?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, one of the primary applications of Uscom has been in paediatrics and neonates. And the reason it's so important is that it's non-invasive, and it is in the paediatric guidelines for sepsis. And sepsis is one of the greatest threats to babies. Our Uscom 1A is also revolutionising maternal health, such as preeclampsia. That's the greatest cause of maternal and fetal mortality and morbidity worldwide. And Uscom is absolutely leading that field. So yes, we are very important and very well connected. And in fact, most of the major teaching hospitals in paediatrics worldwide use Uscom. So paediatrics is a cornerstone of our technology applications and our contribution to global health.
I quite often get this magazine called The Good Egg, which is sponsored by Ray Martin.
Right, okay.
And it has Humpty's wish list at the back, that I've never seen any of the hospitals wishing for any of our products. So I'm wondering, are we really getting the message through to these hospitals about just how good our products are, so that people are asking for them?
Is this an Australian publication?
Yes, this is an Australian.
Yeah. Well, look, Australia has not been a priority for us to date, although we do have a number of installations and people are using our technologies. From our point of view, I guess the Chinese market is bigger than the Australian market. We've got maybe a half a dozen people who are actually doing the selling and marketing. And so from a strategic point of view, it's larger markets that matter. And the point you're making may be partially correct, and that's that we have overlooked the Australian market. Having said that, we have not overlooked China. And I guess our continued growth suggests that while our strategy is not perfect, it is successful. And I would love to have a greater take up and time in Australia. But these relationships take a lot of time to build, and you have to spend time on the ground. Most of the time I'm busy talking internationally. I do participate in Australia a little bit, but to me, it's a little bit of a mystery that we aren't more highly prized in Australia. But when you consider it, it's 24 million people, that's the market. In China, it's 1.4 billion. So in terms of a proportion, but it would be nice to have better support in Australia. So talk to your clinicians and let them know that they've got the world's best technology manufactured, exported from an Australian publicly listed entity. Sorry, I can't hear that in the background. I'm sorry, I can't hear that question or that comment.
I think someone's talking on the phone, Rob.
Oh, right. Okay. I don't want to get involved with that.
No, I don't.
Are there any other questions or general sort of observations about what we're doing as a company, where we're going and what we're trying to do? It's very exciting this year to release the Uscom Blue Sky Health ecosystem. And it's something that we've been working on for quite a while, and now seems exactly the right time as all our global approvals come through. And it will transform the company over the next few years. So it's a very exciting thing from our point of view. We've created the Apex technologies. We are changing clinical healthcare, and we have digital supporting softwares and apps. And so now it's a matter of taking those to the cloud and integrating that information and improving the clinical value of our technologies, and also being able to reach wider globally.
Hi, Rob. It's Eugene Chan here. Could you provide us with a bit more of a timeline on when this Blue Sky initiative will be up and running? Sorry if I missed that. And in addition to that, are there any privacy concerns surrounding data capture, as well as integrity of keeping the data? Are there any hacking issues, for example?
Look, Eugene, I think I'll refer the last question to Mark Zuckerberg. Yes, is the answer. However, having said that, I think it's universally accepted that better access to data creates better patient care, and there's an interplay of potential benefits versus potential risks, and it's kept e-health or big data out of the market for quite some time. But I think it's becoming such an overwhelming, compelling conversation now that it will happen, and we will abide by all the regulations. And remember, there are different regulations in each jurisdiction. Having said that, the capacity to actually shift people's activities to a bigger, more effective utilisation of our technologies is absolutely vital for our progress too. And that is, people are increasingly asking for a digital platform. They are increasingly asking for it. From our point of view, it's not such a big deal to do that, because at every level we've been working on developing the sensors. And it's interesting because the Blue Sky eHealth systems are actually not that substantial longer term to create. What is really difficult to create and very time consumptive are the front end sensors, and big data, e-health, etc., depends on the quality of the technologies or the quality of the measures you put in, and it belongs in the garbage in, garbage out explanation. And that is, you can monitor an inconsequential physiologic measure all day and all night, and it means nothing. But accurate measures of cardiovascular and pulmonary physiology is absolutely critical, and it's a foundation. And in fact, cardiovascular pulmonary diseases are responsible for about 80% of global mortality. And so that's why for us it's absolutely critical. Timeline, we are assembling and developing. We will need to be transforming the platforms on which all of our softwares have been created onto a unified platform. We will then need to integrate that with an umbrella type software and processing, which includes a charge pay-per-use capability, which is all without technical challenge, but that which is time consuming, and then migrate that into the cloud. So in terms of a timeline, we are working on it already. We've done 10 years is how I put it. And that is, we've developed the technologies, we've developed the software, we've developed the apps. What we now need to do is to integrate those, put those into a pay-per-use model and migrate that to the cloud. I would say 3 years probably, and given what the real world is these days. And I'm not sure entirely what level of approval we will need in different jurisdictions, because as you point out, it's a changing world, but we will face that when we get there. We know this is important. We know it's a revolution for Uscom. It's transformational. We can use the platform that we create, the Uscom Blue Sky eHealth ecosystem, for third-party providers. So other people who have digital technologies will be able to feed into this platform and charge themselves. So there'll be a profit share arrangement. So this is the same model that Google, many other vendors use. So I don't think there's mystery to it, but there will be time and there will be some cost associated with it. But having said that, most of the hard work's been done. So I hope that answers your question. I would say 3 years to 5 years is what we're planning, but 3 years should be achievable.
Thank you, Das. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, operational questions, technical, clinical? Just a final chance. Anybody want to make comment? Have some input on the company? Look, if there are no further questions, I'd really like to thank everybody, particularly the investors and our team, management, executives, staff. Growth requires a whole lot of commitment, and I think our teams are coming together and creating the commitment that actually drives the company. We need to have vision and ambition, and I think we don't lack either of those things. We are in an exciting place. We've worked very hard, and for those of you who've been on the register for a number of years, we know that medical devices don't instantly become profitable, sustainably profitable, and cash flow positive. And we seem to have crossed that Rubicon, and we now have a number of new products that are coming, new approvals that are coming, and now a whole new technologic platform which will shift us from being just medical device manufacturers to being system providers and technology company. So it's a very exciting time for us. I thank all those investors who've been with us and had the confidence. And now I look forward to the opportunity to reward you over the next 3 to 5 years. So for those who've joined us who are not investors, thank you very much for your time and attention. Staff, everybody else, thanks a lot for a great year. And we look forward to 2021 and being here at the same time next year and updating you with the progress that we make through the year. So thanks very much on behalf of Uscom. And
well, I'd like to thank Uscom. You're doing a wonderful job, a very valuable job, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to our staff and our people. Okay, thanks. If anybody wants to get in touch with us, you know where we are and you know how to get in contact. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Bye.